Good afternoon. Welcome to Entrepreneurial Live Interviews with Connie Fuksa. I am providing you this information while doing these live interviews because I feel like there's a huge need in the entrepreneurial world or in the business world as a whole for people to see that there is entrepreneurs out there who saw opportunities or understood that something was calling them to try something, do something, and they took advantage of it. They took the leap no matter what, wasn't really thinking about what was involved, just taking the leap to get something going that they really wanted to share with the world. And in this series, the other thing we're doing is trying to share with those out there that are doing it, that run up against struggles or brick walls or mud puddles, that it's not the place to stop, that you can keep going. And there's lots of resources out there to help us and help each other. So today I want to introduce you guys to a gentleman that I just recently met who has just an incredible story of change and opportunity. And a lot of it spawned out of his own experiences and where he's taken it and the things that he's been able to do, even no matter what kind of struggles he's come up against. So today I want to introduce you to Scott Goldberg. Scott, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so much. So Scott, tell us a little bit about you. I just can't wait to share your story because it's so interesting. But tell us where you came from, what you were doing, and how you got into what you're doing now and what that is.
Sure, I'll provide a very succinct version of it. But basically, I was born and raised in Philadelphia. And then I left Philadelphia, went to University of Delaware, where I received my bachelor's degree. And I flipped my major several times like everybody else does. And fell into history education because I love social studies. And then I received my first placement right out of college when I was 21 in Prince George's County Public Schools. And so I spent 5 years there, and they paid for my master's degree in administration. Became an assistant principal within 5 years in Anne Arundel County. So I swapped counties out, and I've been in Anne Arundel since 1999. But through my journey, I was very, very young when I was one of the youngest assistant principals in the county, and I had very young children. So coming back for about 5 or 6 years, I tracked toward principalship. And at that moment, I was having a lot of health issues because I kept giving to my job, very sedentary, not working out. And I gained about 60 pounds too. So I wound up at the doctor's because I had some stress-related issues. And they said, look, you're not going to see your kids grow up if you don't do something, with yourself in terms of your health. And my dad, when he was 49 years old, had all 5 coronary artery disease factors for heart disease, and he had a massive heart attack. And since 49 years old, he's been permanently disabled. And so he still lives in Philadelphia now. We catch up and things of that nature. But looking back on him and seeing where the track I was going, was determined that I was going to have a long life for myself and others. So very quickly, I decided, because students actually at the gym were like, you know what, you really, really need, these are former students, you need to become a personal trainer. That education crosses over to training, you'd be awesome. And I said, look, I'm going to be a principal of high school. There's no way this is going to happen. And so I didn't want to look back on my life and say, well, what if I didn't do this? So I decided to give it a go. I took a pay cut and took a transfer to Meade High School teaching, and then became a personal trainer for like $8 an hour. And they said, look, you have 3 months to make this happen or you're cut. And so within 3 months, very quickly, knowing there's a mortgage to pay and kids at home, I not just made a business of it, I absolutely loved what I was getting into and found the passion. And so very, very quickly, over the course of several years, that translated into taking my classroom differentiation and putting it into the gym. And I started helping people with orthopedic restrictions, help people who had strokes, heart attacks, cancer, back, shoulder, knee issues. And I really, really started looking at the medical portion of it. And I realized, being in that large gym, there were so many limitations for me in terms of not getting equipment, the time, the space, you name it, to be able to help the people who need help. So it became my passion. I got certified as a functional fitness specialist. So I refer myself now as like a functional trainer, or more or less the mechanic of the body, where I take a look at somebody's structure and function. I take a look at the whole person, their lifestyle, and make recommendations and try to help them have a long life. So as a result, after approximately 10 years at a larger gym, I had every reason to say, no, I can't do this. I'm a full-time job. There's no way. And so what ended up happening was my wife Michelle said to me, look, if you can't pay the rent, I'll pay your rent for you. So she gave me every reason not to say no. And so I went ahead and jumped, knowing that I would be losing a lot of client base, and start over, and continued. And eventually things started even taking off even further. And as a result of that, I started tacking on certifications like brain and balance training, because I was doing American Ninja Warrior, but brain and balance helps with a lot of people who are older, over 65, because of their visual cliff being off. I did exercise with senior adults and older adults, and I realized my demographics started shifting from 40 to 65, and the majority of the people that I'm servicing now are clearly, they understand the quality of life, and they're getting older, and they understand the investment they're making long term, because they want to be able to be active when they get older. And for me, that is my true passion, is making the impossible possible for people. Saying, well, I can't do this because, or I don't feel comfortable in the gym, or I hurt myself in the gym, and the negative self-talk, getting rid of it, and basically creating possibilities. And that's my plight. So I'm still with the school system today as a teacher at Old Mill High School, and I help with their health and wellness program. But in addition to that, I am also, as a vehicle, still, at Vital Fitness Holistic Center now, part owner. My wife does the therapeutic body work and massage side, and I am doing the functional training. And together we work collaboratively in order to make people's lives better, and to make them healthier, and make them understand, to be advocates for themselves as well.
Wow. Wow. See, I told you guys this was a story that was like no other. It's so interesting. Gosh, I wrote down all these things because I wanted to make sure I wouldn't forget to ask you something. But let's go back just a minute, because, all right, so you start right out of college. You are hired as a high school teacher. You said, all right, I'm going to do the history thing. And then you immediately aspired to becoming the assistant principal. I mean, who does that? How old were you?
I wanted to be done my education early on. So I jumped right into the master's degree at 21. Just because.
That's incredible. I mean, obviously you have a drive. When something gets in front of you, you clearly run at it 120%. So that's really crazy, but really cool. So then you find that your health is not so well, and that you need to do something about it. You start training yourself, and then the people around you say, hey, you should be a trainer. And you said, oh, I can't, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, but decided to try it anyway.
There's a former student. First, when I was 21 years old, I was teaching AP psychology to 18-year-olds. I mean, I was included. So there was a student that I taught in 1996, and in 1999, he's like, Mr. Goldberg. He's like, and I said, Chaz, is that you? And he's like, yeah. It's like, wow, so you look great. He's like, I've been watching you, and you need to be a trainer. You were meant to do this and to help people. And I was stunned when he told me that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, these things come to us in strange ways, right? But you clearly had the education side behind you. So not everybody who can work out could be a personal trainer, because they don't have the way of teaching inside of them. But you clearly had that. And now you're taking care of yourself in a way that other people are noticing, and they're recognizing it, and then recommending this to you. So then you start working at a gym, and decided, all right, well, I'm working at a gym for a while, and then realized that you were helping people not necessarily just be more healthy, but take care of things that were problems in their life. You found this niche about that. And how did that transformation happen? How'd you go from doing specifically personal training to now looking at things that were issues, and now going into functional medicine?
So it all started with
functional training, I guess.
I had a client that I was training at the larger gym. She had a stroke. Okay. Cerebellum impaired completely. Went from doing amazing work to being in a walker. And I was so emotionally drawn. I'm getting emotional even just talking about this. And I'm like, I'm going to see you back. And that's when I started searching medically. I'm like, it's your cerebellum motor coordination. There has to be a way to be able to make that reconnection for your balance, to be able to get you walking again. She couldn't even do a sit-up. And so I worked with her for about a year to a year and a half, and was able to get her working with occupational therapists, everyone else in tandem. And I saw her this morning. Her balance now is better than before the stroke. And
wow.
we had that discussion this morning. And that was like the moment. And the funny part about it is the person I'm referring to, I was their child's administrator at Arundel High School. And I bumped into her, and that's when we started even just, working together. She had no idea I was teaching and working at the gym at the time. So it was that
Wow.
moment that was pivotal for me to realize I have so much more possibilities for helping people. And that it's not just about getting somebody through a workout and weight loss, although we've done a lot of work with weight loss successfully.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, that's obviously a common area that a lot of people go to first. But what I love about this is, so you're working in the personal training, you really like this, but then you see this need and it like just encapsulates you and says, all right, this is what we're going to do. Now you work with this lady, you find out that you can help her because, clearly in your story, there's a clear pattern of something's put in front of you that's a challenge and you say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And so seems like a progression of those sorts of things. So you go from working in the gym and realizing that you can't help people at the level that you want to anymore. And you then have to make the hard decision, or you can leave the gym and open your own space. And obviously you mentioned that your wife was very supportive, but tell us a little bit about that, because, when you're in a gym, like you can manage, like the people are coming in, the gym is taking care of all the, all of the backside business sides of those things. And really all you're doing then is the important part of your work, which is the part that you like. But now you realize you outgrew what they had available for you. And now you had to take it on yourself. Tell us about all the things you found out after you left the gym that you had to then be in charge of that you never thought of.
Complete overwhelmingness. To start, I mean, I'm teaching. I'm going to be writing a course for our finance program for an adult mill on the business models and developing them this summer, because everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to take a course. I wish I had a course in social media. I wish I had a course in website, how important a website was. And I wish I had an accountant. I needed an accountant immediately. Learning how to actually go ahead and basically the finance part, the social media marketing part, the technical part, having a YouTube channel, the marketing strategies, what works, doesn't work for my business model. What was huge, because we don't advertise. Our business is a referral-based business grown at just building a community, which is what we did, and keeping it small, and which is very different than throwing an ad in the paper. And so I realized that I was at zero ground level, even when it comes down to branding, logos, sweatshirts, and Under Armour apparel and things like that. You name it, there was a list of things to do that backfilled on a daily basis. So the first 3-4 months was very easy for me to get completely overwhelmed. But I made the break mid-April, and back in 2016, because I knew school system was ending, AP exam testing was ending, because I needed the full time to be able to dedicate to it. And then I relied on people I met through Michelle, through networking groups, to who's that attorney I need, who's almost like FDR had a brain trust. I needed a person in social media, a person in charge of my money and my accounting. I needed a financial advisor. And so I started piecing these people together. And then, of course, once they opened up, daily I started getting solicited by people who like, if you need your SEOs, you need to come to me. Or for instance, or different products. Have you ever considered trying this product and go ahead and sponsoring it for your store, or your gym. And so I had to figure out, okay, what's going to work for me?
Yeah.
Who can I trust? Who I can't trust? And it was a huge learning curve. I mean, really, the first year.
I love this. Your transparency is so refreshing and so appreciated. This is exactly what we're trying to talk about on this series, because this is the kinds of things that happen to people when they say, oh my gosh, I found this business, or I thought of this, or I see this problem and I want to fix it. And they have no idea, because it's never taught anywhere unless you physically go and scope these things out. How to do QuickBooks, that you need, some legal advice to setting some things up, that you need some graphics, you need maybe some social media, maybe a website, all of these, maybe you, in your case, you need some apparel. How
about funding? I mean, I'm not even talking about the funding. So I was accumulating gym equipment all along, because a lot of times where the gym I used to work at, They didn't have what was available, so I bought it and kept it in the trunk. And then eventually I kept piecemeal equipment, buying. And I was determined not to take a loan out to start this. And I was going to try to use either personal savings or whatever to make it go, because I didn't want that loan on me. But yeah, there comes an issue where it's like, okay, if you're going to have an accountant, if you're going to have someone in charge of social media, it costs money. And where does that money come from? And you get very, very, very creative. I mean, like I said, I'm not shy enough where I could tell you that I had a friend who had a fitness equipment distributor place, and I said, look, here's what I need. And he's like, Scott, go to Amazon. They'll drop it on your porch. I cannot do free delivery, or I go online yard sale and I'd see wrapped equipment that was a fraction of the price that has never been used. Yeah. And so you really, really start to be resourceful and take a look. Dollar cost average as to what is important, what's not. I asked the members, do you need a gym floor? What do you need? And listening, them gave them further ownership as well. They felt pride because they're the ones that came up with the logo. They approved the tagline. And so having that support system definitely carries you along the way.
That is it's so raw, but it's so wonderful because you're sharing all of these things that are so incredibly important that people just don't think about. I mean, people who are not business owners, business leaders, running a business within a business, they just don't understand all the things that a business owner or business leader has to be in charge of. That isn't just the things that they see. I mean, like your clients only see you doing their training. They don't see you scurrying around on an online yard sale site to try to find equipment that hasn't been used before for a cheaper price. They don't see you, trying to find the accounting program that'll work to make sure that you're keeping all of the books straight. So when it comes to tax time, you're all taken care of. And I love this very genuine, heartfelt conversation because I feel like this is so important that, there's probably people out there listening that say, oh my gosh, I was just like, all right, never mind. I can't do this business because I was going to try to start a gym and I couldn't figure out how to pay for the equipment. So this is really, really good stuff. And I appreciate you sharing.
Well, at the same time, like I said, the members, the key ingredient that I have is relationships with people. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that because the past couple of weeks, I'm surveying and calling every single member to find out what are things going to look like? How are you going to feel comfortable? What do you need? All those little specifics. And so I value every single member's opinion. I had a member once who said, I wish I had a 6-pound dumbbell. I ordered it in front of them. It came the next day.
I love this because this was another topic I was going to bring up with you is people work with businesses that they know and that they trust. And clearly you're the people that work with you trust you. So let's talk about that for a second. You said you originally started on a referral based business. So when you originally started doing personal training, were you just reaching out to people and saying, hey, this is something I'm doing. If you want to try it out, here you go. And then you obviously transitioned into here's people that have physical issues that I can help with. Tell us a little bit about that, building those relationships, because that's really key as well. I mean, social media and websites are all great, but you're building relationships with people. And I think people need to understand that a little bit.
Well, like I said, I have some people, for instance, the woman that I who had a stroke has referred me out, and then they've referred me out. It kind of branches out from there, and the most difficult thing for me is when I have a staff trainer who is completely qualified, but they want me because they know that I've worked with the person. I've either, they've overcome the back injury or the knee injury or whatever. And so the biggest thing is a lot of it stands on my relationship with the person and the results that I created and them just talking about me. Secondly, what I have done is we had a Old Mill High School fit camp. And so, teachers know I am a personal trainer as well. And we run a fit camp for Old Mill High School outside. Mm-hmm. They're outside the gym now at this point. Well, obviously everyone is completely out of the gym at this point, but they were initially sponsored by the PTSA and then I stopped it. I was referred at one point to a private school and we were over there. And we're working with them, and I'm still trying to work with them, but we have to go to them mobilely. And so you have to be very flexible. So the other thing was the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. I'm the vice president of the Chamber of Commerce, and being visible and working with a network of partners and business partners, so other businesses know that you exist as well. You learn about their business, they learn about your business, but plus you get to see the relationships, that you have. So I have a chiropractor, for instance, who I've been going to, and what happened is we discussed networking with each other. And so I've learned about his practice, and I'm his patient now. And he ran all the COVID forms out. I want to find out what he's doing and what his compliance issues are for COVID. But also, we discussed also having a relationship together. So Michelle, being the therapeutic bodywork, the chiropractor, and myself can work in tandem for clients. And so he came over the last Monday. We had some discussion so he could see what I do, firsthand. So
Nice.
Almost vetting, so he can have confidence referring people to me, but also the people know that we together are all working on their behalf for their health and wellness.
I love this concept because you sort of back-ended into something I was going to ask you about. But one of the things that I find with entrepreneurs, I mean, you have a unique situation that you and your wife are both entrepreneurs in types of businesses that complement each other. So, and that can work together. But this concept of building partnerships with other businesses. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday who one of the things he was talking about coming out of COVID is being proactive about how your business is going to bounce out of this. And one of the things he talked about is the ecosystem that you build around your business. Like, what are all the things that you can help people with that are not things that you personally provide, like building basically that network, because now you become the expert sharing all these other ancillary businesses that are somewhat related to you, but they're things that you know enough about to refer responsibly. And so you're doing that with the chiropractor. Obviously you're not a chiropractor. Obviously he's not a personal trainer or a functional trainer as you are, but he learned enough about your business and knows enough to know that it would be a good partnership, and you vice versa the same way. So you guys are building your sphere much bigger. So when one of your customers comes to you and says, hey, I need a chiropractor, you're now the expert. You're the person, the body expert that they're always going to come to. So I love that you're talking about this, building partnerships outside of what your functional area is. So talk to us a little bit more about maybe some other, obviously, and I want you to talk about the chamber in a minute, but obviously you have alliances with several businesses that are similar to yours. Tell us a little bit about those processes as well, how you decided, yeah, this was a good idea. This is what I should be doing.
Well, it all starts out with building community, and that's what we do, and through the members itself. But there are times where we interact with other people, either through the Chamber of Commerce or through ourselves. Like I said, Jing Yang Institute, for instance, I met through the Chamber of Commerce. Michelle, her kids went to them. Now my daughter is going to them for martial arts at the same time. We both promote health and wellness together, and we are small businesses that can support each other. So in a sense, even though we're both within the same health and wellness field, our businesses complement one another. We might not have the referrals off of each other, per se. Although if somebody wants that, I will refer to them, for instance, for Tai Chi. But at the same given time, a time like this with COVID, we are constantly, as small businesses, coming together, problem solving, and supporting each other in an administrative fashion, so we can actually do what we love. And so
I love that too. That's really good, because all these things that you talked about earlier that we're not good at, making these connections with other people that have these specialties is so important, because then you're working with other people. I talk a lot about in the entrepreneurial world, a lot of times entrepreneurs are afraid to say, I just don't know how to do this, or I'm afraid. And that's why I really, really appreciate your frank conversation. But a lot of people don't. And you realize that you making through this chamber, one of the many things that it provides you, but in particular, is these relationships with other businesses that you can trust, that can help you with tools that you're not very good at, and vice versa. You can help them, and you guys are brainstorming together about how to fix things in your business.
But one of the points I want to make when you asked about all the administrative stuff and things I have to do is that quite honest, there's no shut off in our household of business. I could be working 10 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock in the morning, especially now I'm teaching online too at home. I'm entirely, at home. So I'm trying to figure out how the business is going to reopen, with COVID. And so what's the model going to look like? What are the regs? And so with that being said, even before this, when the gym was open itself as a center and a holistic center, the biggest thing is me getting away from that administrative back office and getting in front of the person and being able to help the person and help them with weight loss and help them with, functional, capacities and things of that nature. Because being in front of the person and actually training or running the classes, that's why we're in it.
Yeah, for sure. So as an entrepreneur, tell us if you had a piece of advice that you could give somebody thinking about starting something, or if they're stuck in a certain rut, or, the COVID thing right now. I mean, it's a hard spot, but it's a good example of being ultimately prepared, at least for some kind of something you weren't expecting, right? I mean, obviously nobody can prepare for this, but give us a best piece of advice, business advice you can think of that might help somebody else that you learned through your career of your functional fitness.
Two. I'll give you two pieces of advice.
Yeah, very good.
Number one, rely on the people that you can count on, that are specialties in their field. And if you don't know someone who is a great accountant, etc., then you talk to someone you can rely on, that they're very, 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 very perfectionist about their books and they have good business sense, for instance. That is huge. Have that circle of people around you for support. And secondly, never second guess your instinct and never use the words never or no or negative self-talk, because there are so many times I could have said, this can't work because period, ... and give any reason why something will not work out, and just to take that jump, and expect when you take the jump, it's going to be a wave, and that you got to figure out when to catch the wave and to be persistent about it.
And be okay when the wave hits the bottom sometimes, because it's going to, and it's also going to get back up.
Well, March 16th, the wave did hit the bottom.
And now you're trying to figure out how to make it go back up, but you also realize that you can do stuff online and you're keeping it somewhat going and figuring it out. So,
and I said, I said, this is what, the 10th time I've reinvented myself. I said, okay, let's get to work.
Well, you're obviously a master at doing that. So tell us in, just a couple of words, when you meet somebody new, tell us how you describe what you do for a living.
In the simplest form is I am what I call an empathic, supportive motivator who empowers others to be able to harness energy within themselves, to be inspiring to themselves when it comes to health and wellness. I also deeply have a passion for making people's obstacles and challenges come to fruition in terms of goals and completing them. And as a result of that, we have won several awards and been recognized for weight loss program, best weight loss program, best center, best trainers, etc. And we don't solicit. And because, again, we're very, very, very specialized. If people want help and they truly want to be helped, we want to be the household specialist to be able to figure out what it is. And as a result of that, I look at goal, I look at orthopedic restriction, and I take a look at where they're at present state conditioning wise to achieve that goal. And in the end, when it comes to it, it's a collaborative process, and so I don't believe, and this is where I took out of the box, Jim. When somebody says that they have a budget of $120 and I go to my manager at a gym and they're like, no, all or nothing, I don't believe that. I'm like, if you want help, let's figure it out. And so that means mobile training, in-home training, virtual training. Does that mean, whatever, 5 different types of nutrition programs, whatever it is? It's not a one size fits all, because the person has to feel completely comfortable and they have to feel good about what they're doing,
Yeah.
and I think that definitely is what goes the miles in terms
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Also, it's good advice for people who are looking to do the same or be in the same field.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Real quick, do you have any specials, anything that you need that you'd like to share that are coming up in your business where you guys are starting to do something getting ready to go on? Obviously, I know you're a little more restricted right now, but I just want to share if you have something that you want to share with everybody that now is the time. Tell us if you have something like that.
Well, we always have our punch cards, which are 10 classes for 170. We always have a free assessment,
Okay.
regardless. And if I can't help a person, then I will refer them to somebody who I believe that can help them.
Okay.
It's kind of where I'm at with it. So
Very good.
I will spend 1 hour with the person, figuring out exactly where they are, where they need to be, and doing a full assessment on them. Additionally, more than likely, once we go back in, we're going to be doing 20% off training packages as well.
Okay.
Michelle and I have been discussing. We were discussing before March 16th, doing a collaborative package for people who want massage and therapeutic body work and training, the yin and the yang as well. And that's something we're going to probably be rolling out once we're allowed to reopen.
Very good. Scott, if somebody wants to find you after today, how do they find you?
www.vitalfitnessholisticcenter.com. They can just drop an inquiry. And Vital Fitness Holistic Center, again, even though the name is Accelerated Fitness, that's LLC, Michelle and I are doing business under Vital Fitness itself.
So it's www.vitalfitnessholisticcenter.com.
Yes.
Okay. I just put it in the comments, so I think I got that right. So good, very good. Thank you. I mean, my gosh, I have pages of notes of information. This has just been so enlightening. I love your story because it just truly speaks to the fact that, you saw things that you were really making changes in, and you saw, at the end of the day, the true entrepreneurial path is finding a problem that someone has and figuring out how to fix it and taking it and running with it. And you've done that over and over and over again, both for yourself and for the people that you work for. So your story is incredible, and I love being able to share it today. And I can't thank you enough for being on with me today.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to help other people.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, this has been Scott Goldberg with the Accelerated Fitness Center, or Accelerated Fitness. And he and his wife, as you heard, both do different types of fitness and body and massage work. So you want to check them out. Also, the Holistic Chamber of Commerce is a project that they're both very involved in as well. So check those out. If you want any more information about the Entrepreneurial Live series, somebody that might want to be on the series interviewed, please reach out and message me either through Facebook. You want to make sure that you don't miss any of the live videos that we're doing. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. You'll be able to see all the ones that we've already done. You also will make sure that you're not missing any coming up because you'll get reminders. So make sure you subscribe there and check out my my website, because it gives you lots of other tools and tricks. I just can't talk anymore. Tools and tricks and things that might help you with your business, ConnieFuksa.com. And for now, we're signing off of Entrepreneurial Live interviews, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Thanks again, Scott.
Thank you.